A best friend is that one guy who knows where you hide that secret folder filled with, educational videos. You hang out together, you get yourselves into trouble just for the fun of it, and on your wedding day, he tells that story that you have never told anybody else. The story about the time that stripper farted in your face. Except it wasn't a fart. The stripper had diarrhea, and now the wedding is off. A best friend tells you all his deepest, darkest secrets. I hunt homeless people for fun. And you tell him yours. I like to sniff my fingers after I scratch my balls. He will lie for you, kill for you, and delete your browser history if anything ever happens to you. But you can't hug him when your grandma dies. That's gay. So, how do you find this mythical best friend? It starts with traveling back in time. The quest begins. When you were a kid, making friends was easy. You go to school, sit down, and the teacher just tells some other kid to sit next to you. By break time, you're either doing armpit farts and laughing with your new best friend, or getting an atomic wedgie. That's why I never wiped. It was wedgie insurance. But things have changed so much. I went to the middle school down the road and tried making friends the old-fashioned way. You know, tickle fights, comparing sizes, and competing to see who can shoot his pee the farthest. I won. I hit the ceiling and rained piss down on everybody. You should have seen those 12-year-olds run. But I didn't get to celebrate. The cop showed up and arrested me because it's apparently illegal to be 25 these days. And when I got to jail, I learned that you can make new friends over there by carrying lube. If you don't, the bonding ritual can be very painful. However, you don't have to donate orgasms to the biggest guy on your cell block to make new friends. There's a much easier way of making friends. Just reconnect with old ones. Reconnecting with old friends is a lot like getting your mom to give back the $100 she has been keeping for you since your 12th birthday. Asking for that cash seems like a no-brainer until she hits you with the guilt trip, pulls out a calculator, and shows you how much you owe her for food and rent and free laundry. Not to mention the cost of love, which, of course, cannot be quantified by any number. You do your own math and decide that talking about money is beneath your dignity as a family. Reviving old friendships requires a similar calculation. Those friendships fizzled out for a reason. Maybe he moved away. Maybe he got a new girlfriend, who just happened to also be your girlfriend. But the worst part? The bastard refused to share. To revive a friendship, you have to deal with why it ended. Or you can just do what any guy who owes all his friends money usually does. Make some new friends. Most adults make new friends by getting one of those fancy things that show-offs who wake up before 10 a.m. usually have. A job. You can spend a whole year bonding with Gary over how much you hate your boss, until Gary snitches on you for a promotion. Don't get too angry at Gary. These things happen. Just forgive, forget, and egg his house every Halloween for the next 300 years. Making and losing friends is a part of the rhythm of life. You lose your high school friends when you go to college. You lose your college friends when you get a job. And you lose your work friends when they actually get to know your personality. It's part of the reason why men are lonely. We just don't bother to make new friends as we get older. I made 2 friends in kindergarten, and I thought I was set for life. And I am. I'm still best friends with those guys. I just haven't seen or spoken to them in 5 years. This is because men don't bond by talking to each other like a bunch of women. They bond by talking to each other like a bunch of men, which is not at all. Male conversations occur in 30-second snippets between yelling at football players and invading Poland. So if you want to make new friends, find an activity that requires cooperation. If you're trying to make new friends at the gym, for example, don't spend all your time on solo activities like running on the treadmill. It's hard to make friends while channeling your inner hamster. Do something like the bench press. Even when you don't want to talk to anybody, when you can't lift the weight anymore because you overloaded the bar to impress the girl you just met 30 seconds ago, you will need help. Jacked Jim will stop the bar from crushing your neck and give you an excuse to buy him a drink. The goal is to engage in activities that foster camaraderie with other men. Going to war is the #1 activity for this, but if you're one of those chickens that is scared of silly little bullets, there is always team sports. Team sports give you the PTSD and permanent injuries of a soldier without the bullet holes. The high-pressure environment, combined with the challenge of defeating the enemy, forces all the guys in your team to lean on each other. That's how you go from strangers to besties. And if your new friends displease you, you can just punish them with rough tackles on the field and pretend it's all a part of the game. But what if you always got picked last in sports, and you can't run or hold the ball, and all your new teammates hate you? The solution is easy. Just find a sport that you can play while sitting down. It could be card games, video games, or in my case, competitive masturbation. The winner gets a very unsatisfied wife, and the loser gets a soggy biscuit. Yum. If you're not a competitive guy, you can engage in less intense friend-making activities like hiking, birdwatching, or saying hi to the people at the park while your dogs sniff each other's butts. Just know that this is the slow lane. By the time you become best friends, America will know what a kilometer is. When all you have are short casual interactions, you're more likely to turn into familiar strangers who call each other bro because you've been nodding at each other for a year and now it's too awkward to ask for names. Shared activities get over this awkwardness by giving you an excuse to spend hours bonding with your buddies. You come together to win the game, but you stay for the hugs. Sorry, they're called team huddles. Hugs are gay. If you can't be bothered by that at all, there is one friend-making tactic that I found in the hallowed halls where the sanest members of the human species gather: 4chan. With the 4chan method, you just show up to a random family gathering and pretend that you're cousin Jim. They'll be extra nice to you because they're too embarrassed to admit they don't know who the hell you are. This works best at funerals because they're too sad to be suspicious. People gatecrash weddings and graduation parties all the time, but who the hell gatecrashes a funeral? The fake cousin trick works until you leave the funeral and discover that just like your real family, your fake family won't call you again until somebody dies. Social skills. But what if I have poor social skills, you may ask? Surprise! It doesn't actually matter. Your friends don't need you to be perfect, they just need you to follow the golden rule for social interactions. Don't be weird. That means if you're invited to a new friend's house, you don't whack off in his bed. You do it in the closet and spray all his clothes to mark your territory. You also shouldn't overshare personal details with your new friends. That's what Instagram and TikTok are for. Oversharing in person is needy and desperate. Oversharing on the internet is also needy and desperate, but it doesn't matter. Your IRL friends are serious scholars. They spend all their time online researching the impact that the wave motion of jiggly jugs and wiggly butts has on the penile blood pressure of human males aged 14 to 99. They won't be bothered with whatever needy nonsense you're posting. Treat your social skills like you treat your health. Ignore everything until something goes wrong. As long as you listen more than you speak, your social skills should naturally improve with every interaction until you stop worrying about being weird anymore. Feedback is usually instant, so you can just adjust on the fly. If they smile or nod, you're doing good. If they turn and run away, shout "thief" and beat them into a pulp. Once your social skills are good enough, your bros will invite you to other events where you can meet their friends and friends of those friends, on and on and on, until you're friends with anyone you could ever want. This is where you choose the guy you cuddle with the most and crown him your best friend.